Ian Moira!
Daniela C. has done a really great job.
Welcome home. Come on in.
It's been a challenging character, and I know that she's worked very hard.
Moira, do you go by any other name?
Well, not really. She sometimes goes by Max.
Max, fantastic. That's a nice name.
It was a very important story to tell.
The story of outsiders in general, people who feel like outside of their own skin and kind of are set apart, that's a pretty universal story, that everyone at least knows someone who's like that, and everyone feels that way a little bit inside themselves.
One of my favorite episodes is the lobster episode.
Just have a salad and a side of fries. How much is that?
$14, ma'am.
Max is coming into this group of women, and it dealt with issues of class. Besides the transgendered issues, which Max really brought to light.
I know something interesting about lobsters. When you cook a pot of male lobsters, and they realize they're in this pot of boiling water, they start making these little ladders and helping each other get out of the pot. But female lobsters, they all just start grabbing each other, and they're like holding each other down. They're like, if I'm gonna die, everyone's gonna die. It's a real shame, isn't it? Okay, I would like to state this for the record. I wish that Max could have represented the working class and stayed at that level instead of having to then meet the rest in the glitz and glamour in the second season and wear fancy suits and shoes and everything. But others would say, well, you want to see marginalized people succeed, and that's good to have a good example of someone succeeding in the society as a trans person. So I have to also be willing to concede to other people's wisdoms as well.
With Max in the minefield of gender politics, the character of Tasha landed squarely amid military politics as a soldier battling the don't ask, don't tell policy. Since the 1994 Armed Forces ban on openly gay service people, over 12,500 men and women have been discharged. So Tasha was more than relevant.
Coming out of the military, post-traumatic stress disorder, and all these things that happened, there was so much to be explored in terms of Tasha.
There was no question when we took on the Tasha character that we would do a don't ask, don't tell story.
Command is recommending your discharge from the United States Army Reserve for homosexual conduct.
The Service Members Legal Defense Network invited us to their gala fundraising dinner. And the thing that was so moving beyond everything else was the way in which people reacted to Rose.
This is my first speech ever, people, so bear with me, okay?
There were so many women and men who came up to her, many of them in uniform. Some of them had been chaptered out of the service, and they would burst into tears and tell her that they never in their wildest dreams imagined that they would see their stories portrayed on television by a character as noble and aspirational as Tasha.
Thank you, especially to all of the gay men and women who are suffering under the don't ask, don't tell policy, and for living your stories of bravery and conviction and letting us, all of us, tell your stories.
It seems so wrong now to have my personal freedom denied to me within my own country. It seems wrong to watch the person that I love be interrogated like a criminal when she did nothing wrong.
To whom are you referring, Captain Williams?
Alice Piasecki, Colonel. I know that so many other people could relate because it's just such a prevalent issue, and there are so many people who are out there fighting. It really just, it impacts me.
Whether life imitates art or the other way around, we want to stand with you to tell the story, to end don't ask, don't tell. Amen. Thank you.
You can't overemphasize how important it is to see representations of ourselves in mainstream media. Even in the most accepting, diverse environment, it can be fairly lonely to be gay in a straight world. And I think the idea that you had sort of this group of friends who you checked in with once a week for so many years made you feel, I think, a little less alone. No matter how many gay friends you had, it just sort of gave you a window into a new community.
I think one of the real great gifts of the L Word was that it has totally blown the doors off of arcane stereotypes of the lesbian community.
I remember the backlash that came out as soon as the show aired, and all of a sudden I was reading all these really kind of angry press about lesbians do not look like that.
I think a lot of the discussion about, oh, there really aren't lesbians like this is just purely aspirational and pure fantasy, were mostly written by people who don't know that many lesbians.
Well, I think the show's definitely got rid of the notion that everybody's always in flannel.
It showed to America that some of us wear tool belts, but some of us also wear Donna Karan. And it introduced America to the fact that we come in all different sizes, shapes, colors, wardrobes, and it told America that we can be sexy. Up to that point, with the remarkable exception of Ellen DeGeneres, we were maybe, if we were lucky, the gay best friend, maybe the neighbor next door, more likely the tortured school teacher or the closeted librarian. And more often than any of those, we were completely invisible.
People have found out about lesbian lives. It might not be the full spectrum of lesbian lives, but it's definitely representative of some lesbians. And it's important for people to know that there are lesbians in the world. We need to be very clear with people about who we are, and they'll be all right, and we'll be all right. Everybody will live.
I think one of the great things about the L Word is it brings people into a story of people's lives. It really is not about being gay. It's about being human. It's about getting a job. It's about losing a job. It's about losing a love. It's about gaining a love. It's about all the kinds of things we as human beings experience in life.
I don't think that gay people feel quite as integrated in society as we may look or appear to be. So, you know, gay TV has a place, and hopefully there will be a lot more shows targeted for this audience, by, for, and about this audience that straight audiences end up coming to and liking, but, you know, we'll get the secret jokes better.
The L Word, with all its potent characters, appeared on the horizon of a once representational desert, and the enormity of this sudden visibility became clear at fan conventions, on message boards, and to the filmmakers.
No, but would you sign my underwear for me?
Miss Fairbanks has an appointment, okay?
Excuse me.
I got followed through a grocery store, and someone walked up to me and was just like, I just want you to know this really means the world to me. And I sat my mom down and watched the show with her and asked her if she liked the show, and my mom said yes, and I said good, because that's me, and that's how I came out to my mother. It's like, oh, wow, that's powerful.
That's such a huge part of why we would not be ourselves, is that we would be rejected by our families. All of us who embody who we are and then go and face the people we need in life to know are out there, like family, have faith and just be strong in ourselves. I mean, that's what changes the world.
I did this little documentary about a year and a half ago. We went to New York and we interviewed a group of kids who were all gay, and they all happened to be homeless, and different varying degrees of homelessness. Not only was that a really profound experience, but it also showed me what kind of impact the show had. They all said it helped them to a varying degree, and I thought, wow, well good, because that's the reason why the show is on the air, and that makes me feel like I did my job.
My husband was invited to a party, and there was this young girl reading. On his way out, the girl gave him this letter and said, can you give this to your wife? And of course, as soon as I read it, I just started crying. She was thanking me for the show and telling me how much it meant to her and how it really was a lifeline. She was emblematic of all the girls that I wanted to do the show for. And I felt so honored to have been of some help to someone.
It's kind of incredible to think how many people, it's not just in the US, it's not just, you know, in North America, it's like everywhere.
Me and my girlfriend went to a lesbian bar in Tokyo.